Back again for another video. So, figured I'd just throw in this little entry while we have the time. I swear, me and Aka, we have conversations all the time, and I'm like, I probably should have recorded that and made a video. But anyway, one of the topics that we're going to discuss today is why women fight submission. It's going to be not covered seriously in depth, but it's just going to be a conversation between me and her. So just listen along and, hope you enjoy. So what do you think about submission? I mean, because you were saying that you think that women fight submission, and I agree too. And the funny thing is, I was saying to her, I was like, I think I'm gonna make a video about women fighting submission. And she was like, I don't fight submission. So literally, the video was gonna be about women fighting submission, and her rebuttal was fighting submission. Isn't that funny? Great. So why do you think that is? You can continue on.
Well, see, you already told me, and it makes sense. But then at the same time, I feel like there's different categories that people don't submit for their own reasons. But the whole fact of the programming,
right,
of rejecting programming, I can get that idea.
Do you feel it creeping up on you?
You know what? It really crept. It came, and it was just like you said, like me going through my chaos, like deciding which is right or wrong. So I feel like creeping up. No, it's already there. And it's interesting.
I mean, but how do you feel about it? Because it has to be, for my understanding. I mean, I understand a lot about programming, but I've caught myself in the midst of programming, but it's always been when I caught myself. You know what I mean? How does it feel for you when you realize, when you came to the realization, there's my like programming me? And it's because it's not what you would usually do. Because if it was something you usually do, then you wouldn't have a reason to be programmed. Of course, you would just fall right in line. But that means that the programming is literally going against another program that you adopted. So how do you feel about that exactly? I mean, being that the program is already in place, and there's a program that I'm implementing that you are subconsciously going to go against. And once you come to the realization of that, how do you feel about that?
I don't think I feel a certain way about that. I'm very natural, I like to think. And with the taking place, like I have to stop myself, like during the, when it's like loading up. Like I feel like I have to stop myself and make sure that it makes sense to me before I'm like fully to go on. And I think a lot of people should do that, unless they're very easily like against. I don't know. I don't get it. Well,
it's more like okay. So like for instance, you believe that some of the things that we do, it has a certain level of programming behind it, and you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. And then I'm like, no. This is part of it. And then you're like, okay. And then we do that, and then you're like, oh,
I don't want to do it.
I love you so much. And then you come and you come to the realization, you're like, I don't want to feel like that, because that once again, to me, that's an interpretation of you fighting programming. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I know what it does, because I'm the creator of the program. Of course I know what it does. But I think subconsciously you understand, but consciously it comes out as an emotion, as you know what I mean? And you that to sort through it, and then you're like,
I still don't like it. I still don't like it. It's emotionally and spiritually, I don't want. I think like that should be the last part of the whole programming, to say that. But that's just what I think, and just because I think they don't mean it's right. So
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, now if you wanted to be programmed a certain way and you had the ability to program yourself, which a lot of women do, like I said, I mean, a lot of women have the ability to program themselves, but not cognitively the way that men do. Men, we cognitively do things that we know we're going to have a point A to point B outcome, meaning that we start here and this is where we're going to end, and we know C is next, you know. But I would think that you wouldn't fight against it, knowing, I mean, being the fact that you don't know what's on the other side of it.
I don't.
Exactly.
And that's probably what is so scary. That's why I'm like stopping in mid-process, because I don't want to feel that way.
But how do you know you don't want to feel that way if you've never felt that way before?
Because of the responsibility that comes with it.
Not necessarily, because the responsibility isn't on you, it's on me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some partial responsibility for you uptaking the programming, but how it's executed is on me, because I'm the one that created the program.
Yeah.
So there is no responsibility, in my opinion, for you specifically. I mean, it's more for what I want the outcome to be. Now, there have been instances in the past where programming has went completely wrong. I mean, but that's a very rare thing in my day and age, because I really know what I'm doing at this point. But when it comes to how you feel about it, I mean, how do you really feel about it, knowing that that's going on? Because you dodging the question a little bit. You're like, I mean, well, you're not dodging it, but you know.
I would say I do not know. But like the process of it is, to me, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm fighting it so much like other people could fight it. Mm-hmm. But I have my reservations.
Exactly.
Then they're minor. You know, like I have to step back because I am not gonna jump head first. But I feel like I have. Mm-hmm. You know, but then it's just like I'm trying to twist it up.
So you're trying to reverse your jump, huh?
Maybe like twist it a little bit. But I really don't know how I feel about it. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. So explain a little further.
Okay, so jumping headfirst into this new relationship with you that I've never been in. But I don't know, it doesn't feel different from anything else, but then it does.
I'm listening.
It does. And then just because I do listen to your other videos, and like I put two to two together, we do have our conversations. It's just it's a process for me. And I think I kind of rejected, or what are we talking about? I
mean, yeah, you do. That's you fight back on the submission to the programming. It's not submission.
But see, I don't think that it's me willingly fighting back. That's what I would say.
It's the programming that was before fighting back.
I want to say that there's. See, so you talk about the red pill, and then you talked about the blue pill, right? And then I told you, like, I'm the yellow pill. Like, I'm the yellow pill. Like, I'm not the red or the blue. Like, I'm on a different level. So, it's with that being said, like, I'm more spiritual. So I feel like with you trying to program a spirit is very difficult. So that's probably what I'm.
Well, see, it's not that for me. It's a bottom top kind of thing. I start from the bottom and then it works its way up. It starts with the minor things and then it works into the more progressive things. But that is all over a long period of time, and you're already fighting back. We haven't even gotten into the crazy stuff yet.
Great.
You know, and well, it's not crazy, but I'm just saying the more complicated things. You know, we haven't even really gotten into that. We just, you know, doing a slow roll, and you're like,
So you're telling me that, like, women generally start fighting back later on?
It depends, because it depends on the quality of woman. Not necessarily the quality of woman isn't always in line with, I guess you can say, her level of fight back on submission. um, it's all about her certain upbringing. It depends on her understanding and relation that she's had with men and what she understands about men. Like I said, throughout her life, what her level of fight back is, because that goes back into the previous programming ideology that I'm saying. The reason why I'm getting some fight back is because I'm touching points that have not been touched by men before, meaning that or they may have been touched by men but in an incorrect way, so that list is a red flag when your subconscious goes over it. But what happens is, when it comes to the different levels, is say like a woman, her father protected her all the time, so when she leaves her father's home and she meets a man who's going to protect her, it's not going to be foreign to her. It's going to be automatic, get in line. She knows what to do when a man starts to protect her. It is congruent programming. But what's happening here is, once again, I haven't made the differentiation between the two. I'm either touching programming that has been programmed by the larger society, or the ideologies, or your background, or whatever, or I'm uprooting programming that was put there by men incorrectly, meaning that you had an experience with the man and it touched your subconscious to the point where you now have an aversion to things of that sort. Meaning, like, when we engage in that way, it's probably a subconscious aversion there that I'm reprogramming. And the funny thing is even though you seem yourself to be autonomous in this, you aren't completely. Like I said, like I say all the time, women are the vessels for men. That's how it works when it comes to what women do and how they react to things, and because their root from why they exist is because of man. So it wouldn't make any different for that. I mean, they're tangibly on this earth and stuff like that, but it wouldn't make any difference in what I'm explaining. That's the reason why a lot of the reactions that you have, I can pinpoint and say, okay, I know what that problem is. I know how to fix it. Boom. Because I've dealt with so many different types of different programs when it comes to women, that when I see something, I can recognize it and I can reprogram it into a functional program. But I can't, like I said, I can't tell if some of the pushback is coming from a dysfunctional program, which doesn't mean a necessarily bad thing. Dysfunctional means it's not functional, because these are things that should be naturally happening and enjoyable, so any pushback from that is a form of dysfunction. But like I said, it isn't necessarily a bad thing.
My excuse is that I'm yellow. My excuse is that I'm yellow.
You got them light bright problems.
Light bright problems. Yellow all around. Yellow tail, yellow skin, just yellow.
But no, it's a large topic to cover, but I figured that we would just touch on it because I found it to be interesting, and I was going to do a video on it probably anyway. So, but I just want to know, from your perspective, your opinion, and it seems that I don't think you know.
I don't know. So that's why I pause, and I'm just like, well, let me figure this out on my phone. Mm-hmm. I'm used to thinking things through, mm-hmm. and you help with the thought process of why this is going the way it is. Mm-hmm. And I honestly want to say it's because I don't think I have a dysfunction in my life. Like, my life, everything good or bad, like, it came.
Right.
That's how the kind of woman I am. But at the same time, it's just like more spiritual. Mm-hmm. Like it touches my spirit in a certain way, and I think that's probably what.
Well, let me clarify on what I mean by dysfunction. Dysfunction to me is simply just the opposite of functional. That's it. It doesn't matter what it is. The opposite of functional means that it works. Dysfunction means that it doesn't work, and in the context that I'm using it, and that's generally speaking, that's what dysfunction means. But a lot of people think that you do just crazy stuff and you're just running around naked out in the street like, oh, you wearing a tinfoil hat, and I mean, it's not like that. What I mean, like I said, is just simply functional versus non-functional. And what I mean by, let me say, what I mean by non-functional is because when we engage in these things, they should be natural. Meaning, let's go back to the analogy of a woman being protected by her father. Now, if she had not had that protection, because that's what men are for. Men are here. We're here to protect women and children. And that protection comes by leadership and guidance and, provision and stuff like that. It comes by in different ways, but let's just say it's just the physical protection. Now, if she had never been physically protected in her life, upon meeting a man, what a woman will do, and I've seen this and I've experienced this in my life personally, what a woman will do if she has never been protected by a man, when a man starts protecting her, she takes offense to that. That's dysfunction, because it is going against a natural order. You get what I mean? Meaning that she pushes back on his protection because her response is going to manifest something like this. Nobody has ever been there for me in my life. I got this. I know how to take care of myself. We see it all the time. Mm-hmm. I know how to protect myself. I don't need your help. I got this. That's dysfunctional. Even though on the surface, it may seem functional to everybody else for a woman to be like, okay, well, she's independent. She's got her life together. Why is she reacting that way to a man protecting her when these are the natural roles? That is dysfunctional. That's what I mean by dysfunction. It means that it goes against the natural order of functionality. The natural order of functionality is that men protect women. That's the natural order. And that's what I'm talking about in regards to some of the interactions that we have, because I'm going by the natural order. When I do the natural order of things and I get a little pushback, there's dysfunction. That's what it looks like to me. And it's not to say that you're a bad person, just like it's not to say that that woman is a bad person who believes that she's got it and she doesn't need a man protection. There's nothing wrong with that, especially in this day and age. But once again, it is not functional because it doesn't go with the functional order. Get what I mean?
I get what you mean.
So that's what I mean by some of the things that we go through, and some of the feedback that you give me comes from a dysfunctional space. But once again, like I said, I can't tell if it's from the lack of, and a woman in the scenario that I gave you, she programmed herself. Mm-hmm. Society programmed her.
Had a hand in it.
Yes, exactly. Society has a hand into giving a woman a direction when a man is not present. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. But with any woman that I meet, I can't tell the difference between if it's a societal thing or if it's the fact that a man didn't do the right thing and it programmed her incorrectly. The other scenario that we can go by where a woman is dysfunctional to a man's protection is if let's say you, and it's going to surface the same way a lot of times. So you're going to get this woman who's going to be like, I don't need no man's protection. I've been protecting myself all my life, blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is that men probably abused her. So she's going to view any interaction with a man that looks like what those men did, as far as, how they, I got you, shorty, you good with me, and then he abused the hell out of her. When a man approaches her with that same attitude, even though he may be genuine in his approach to say that and sincerely and wholeheartedly means that he's going to protect her, she's going to fight back against it. But once again, this goes against the natural order because it is not functional. Because the function is for a man to protect a woman. That's been throughout hundreds of thousands of years. This has always been true. This is the reason why women have femininity that manipulates men. Mm-hmm. Because they don't have the wherewithal to protect themselves at the level that a man can protect them. So that is the natural function and order. Get what I mean?
I get what you mean.
Okay.
So no, I have to
I gave you some homework, huh?
Stop.
Gave you some homework, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. I don't see, but then, like I said, in my life, I've always take what's thrown my way, and I sort through it and put it back into the universe. our interaction, I still feel strongly about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
I'll give you a key into figuring how it's functional or not. It's because a woman filters things through her emotion and it then hits the rationality. Whereas men, we filter it through our rationality, then it may hit our emotions. Sometimes it does, like a 50-50. But how you know that something is functional or not when it comes to an interaction between the male and the female is if it feels natural. Meaning that your initial emotion, because remember, like I said, it hits woman's emotions first, and then you start to rationalize it. But the rationalization does not necessarily come from you. It comes from male influence, which is your anima. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But what it means is that you're a woman, so therefore your natural instinct is going to kick in first before anything else. Before you conceptualize and start to realize and start to come to a conclusion, your basic levels of evolution are going to kick in. So you're going to go through your fight or flight, then you're going to go through your emotional rationalization, then you're going to go through your emotions first, and then you're going to go through your emotional rationalization, then you're going to go to your frontal cortex. I mean, it's going to go in that order. But in that emotion part of it, if you feel that it feels right, that's the truth. Because once again, the truth is consistent. If it happens over and over again where you have that same emotion, it's true. Seriously.
So what if, like, in the process, of course, it doesn't feel bad, it feels good, but then after, that's when, like, the guilt sets in.
Because that's programming at that point. Because now you're using a rationalization that you picked up from somewhere. It's hard. It's like I said, I see things. I see things completely different than what other people see, because I don't look at the reasons, I don't look at the individual reason why. While I'm able to conceptualize them, yes, I look at the start and finish product. Meaning that I don't care about the middle point of whatever happened. It just goes back to what I was saying in regards to what were we talking about the other day about. We were talking about men not being monogamous. I don't care. We can go through generation to generation to generation to generation. You're a product of it. I'm a product of it. A lot of people are a product of it. Even though our circumstances are different, the truth is that men are non-monogamous. That's the truth.
And that's built to be monogamous.
Yes, they're non-monogamous. That's the truth of it. No matter how you slice this cake, it is still a cake. No matter how you view those individual circumstances, I don't care about what happened. Oh, well, he cheated on her and they got a divorce, or this and that. No. What matters is that they are non-monogamous at the end of the day, by and large, throughout society, throughout worldwide, no matter where you go on this planet. This is true because you see different children from different fathers. That's where it comes from. But this is a very, very necessary evolution that we have evolved to become, because we need gene diversity to stay ahead of bacterial infections that catch up with our certain genes and certain disorders and something. It's more genetic. The reason why we do this is so we can stay ahead of these things, and we can largen the pool, so that, for instance, let's go with an analogy. For instance, the black community, sickle cell only affects black people, right? Mm-hmm. So if at the point where we start to intermingle with other races, that'll lessen the occurrences of sickle cell, because they don't have the alleles to match up with our alleles to create sickle cell, because you need two different genes, or two dominant genes to match up to get sickle cell. So, or it might be recessive. I don't remember. I believe it's dominant, but you can't just have one. That's why they say a parent has a carrier, but the other parent doesn't. So the child therefore doesn't have sickle cell. It's only when you get two of the different genes together, two dominant genes together, that the child will come out with sickle cell anemia. But it's almost 100% proven that if you go to another race that isn't the black community, your child isn't going to come out with sickle cell. Yeah. So that goes back into the evolutionary history that we go through as men, because we are responsible for the proliferation of the human race if ever it gets down to really bad numbers. That's the reason why we have millions of sperm that can release at once, because it ups the percentage of success. And why women only have one egg is and the reason why men protect them. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. But anyways, the whole point of what I'm saying is that where was I going with that? What was I going? I don't know. No. We were talking about
the thoughts of a man.
The what?
How he cannot be, or how he should not be monogamous.
Yeah, but before then, I was making a point to. Oh, I was talking about the reason why you were feeling the way you feel. Oh, absolutely. Because I don't. It's about the start and the end point, and what I mean by the end point is the circumstance. How you feel about. That's what I'm saying. We get caught up into diving into individual circumstances to say, oh, I'm different. No, you like everybody else, believe me. You just don't know people enough to know that. But what I'm saying is that it's only after the end point has reached, then you start to conceptualize what has happened, and then you feel some type of way about it. But from start to finish, you feel great. You feel every single time. Every single time you feel great. It's only after the fact, when you start to throw in a rationalization, which is the programming once again, that you start to be like,
maybe I should have.
Exactly. That's you fighting submission. So anyway, we're gonna call it there.
Oh yeah, you get to the last word.
Oh, of course, shouldn't I?
Yeah, of course, but what if I'm just like
you have more to say?
No.
Exactly. So anyway, this has been a Wolf and Beta Close. I hope you enjoyed this one. This is a little bit more longer one. It's just our general conversations of how we talk. I like to make sure that she understands a lot of the things that I understand. So we have almost daily conversations about different topics. And this just happened to be one that you guys are privy to listen to. So anyways, this has been a Wolf and Beta Close. May you have a good day, and peace be with you.